I kind of approach it, I'm going to do everything in my power to make the guys on my team successful. And then if they're successful, I'll have success. But it's not about me being successful or keeping my job or anything like that. It's how can I help them perform at a high level and win games and do that.
Hey, Dan. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, guys.
Let me start that over. Hey, Dan.
Hi.
Good morning.
Morning, guys.
Welcome to the Missoula podcast.
Thanks for having me on.
Hey, this is awesome. Excited to have you.
Yeah.
Dan, how'd you originally land in Missoula? Where are you from?
I'm originally from Big Timber, Montana, a little small town, South Central, small people, 1,500 people. And when I was graduated high school, kind of knew what I was going to go to school for. So I came to UM and went to school here, was part of the J school and graduated there. And somewhere along the road, got into football, and it's kind of led me to where I am now. So
journalism, we should reverse roles. You should be interviewing us.
It's been a long
You're
time for me since then.
Dan, am I incorrect? Isn't Bobby Houck from Big Timber as well?
He is.
Is he a legend in the town?
The whole Houck family. It started off with his dad, Bob Sr. My parents' first teaching job out of high school or out of college was in Big Timber, and Bob Sr. was there as a teacher. So when my parents first started teaching, my dad got there as his first teaching job. He started coaching with Coach Houck's dad, and my mom was living in a different town. They were kind of split up at the time because of their teaching jobs, and so he had nightly dinners with the Houck family, was kind of living there. He was Katie, Coach Houck's younger sister. He's her head basketball coach, so known the Houcks forever. So Bob kind of took him under his wing, and so I was kind of the adopted family member for a long time. Wow. And kind of grew up with him, known him my whole life. And
forgive me, I'm going to age you here. What year did you graduate in Big Timber?
2006.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was life like growing up in Big Timber over on that side of the state? I mean, did you enjoy it? You said your family was teachers. Tell us a little bit about
It's funny, I get that
experience.
question a lot now I've traveled around, coached with kids from all kinds of different backgrounds, and they find out I'm from a town of 1,500 people. I'm like, what did you do? That had to be the most boring place in the world. It's like, I didn't know anything different.
Sure. Just
That's
lifted
all
weights.
I knew.
Just lifted.
I'd never been anywhere. It's like, so it's all I knew. We, played sports. You play every sport. We're a Class B school, so you don't just play one sport. Football, you play both sides of the ball, all that kind of stuff. Outdoor activities are huge. So I was hunting, fishing, all that kind of stuff. I worked on a ranch growing up. Obviously, with both my parents being teachers, my dad was my principal in high school. My mom's the guidance counselor. They're both coaches. So my dad was a girls basketball coach for 30 years. My mom was the volleyball coach. So I grew up in a coaching background and teachers' kids. So that's kind of set. I never thought I was going to be a coach or a teacher or anything like that. But I think, kind of set the standard. So when I got the chance to do it, it's like, oh, I know what this is. I lived it. I watched it. So
coming out of high school, did you have options for college? How'd you land in Missoula?
Yeah, so I played 3 sports. Football was probably my best. So I had some options to play NAIA, Frontier Conference, Carroll, Western. Some of those schools were looking at it. But I grew up a Griz fan my whole life. My grandfather went to school with the Griz. Tim Houck, obviously, playing for the Griz and being from my hometown is like a legend. So I was at the point I'm going to play for the Griz or I'm not playing football at all. And I wasn't good enough to play for the Griz. Not even close. So I was like, all right, football dream's done. Let's go to school. Let's be productive. Was into journalism, that kind of stuff. So I came here to go to the journalism school, and obviously Coach Houck was the head coach. So once I got here my freshman year, just from knowing him and knowing the family, wanted to be around a little bit and just said, hey, do you have a job with the football team? I'll volunteered. Is there anything I can do just to be around it? I'd still want to be around sports, be involved a little bit. And so I started off my freshman year just volunteering on the football staff. Everything from setting up equipment at practice, spotting the ball, printing off scripts. We did that for 2 or 3 years, worked up to where I was doing some film breakdown, running scout teams, helping run study hall for the, so each year when I did it, got a little bit more responsibility, a little bit more. And by the end of it, I was basically working as a graduate assistant, even though I was an undergrad, doing the jobs of graduate assistant, film breakdown, scouting reports, scout team, special team substitutions on game days. And so just kind of got into it and finished my my bachelor's degree. Actually, I had 1 semester left when Coach Houck took the job to go to UNLV. We played in that national championship in 2009. He got hired at UNLV in January. I had 1 semester of school left to finish. So I finished that, stayed on. I was helping out Coach Pflugrad because he had been a position coach. So I knew him, and he took over the head coach. And trying to help with the transition, just one of the few people who'd been there a while, helping any way I could, and then graduated, and I didn't know what I was going to do. So I remember calling Coach Houck up, is like, hey, I know they hire people to go to grad school and be coaches. Do you have a grad assistant job? And he had actually just hired one of his former players, so his on-field coaching positions were already filled. So we had some conversation. He goes, what about the weight room? We got one strength coach. You already know him. Coach Gerber was here. I brought him down, but he doesn't have a GA. Would you want to do that? I've never worked in the weight room. I've never been a strength coach. He's like, well, we'll make the position, come down, go to school, do it. He'll teach you. And so I took off and went down there a couple weeks later, and that's how I got in the weight room. Never been out of it since.
I'm going to backtrack a little bit. That's an incredible journey. But as you're about to graduate high school, how did journalism get on your mind? Like what was it from your childhood that made you
part of it, being around sports and you're playing, you get some interviews. We had a little local newspaper and stuff like that. And we had some journalism class and a yearbook class in high school. And I was in some of those classes, but one of my side jobs in high school was I was the sports reporter for our local newspaper. It was just a weekly newspaper owned by a husband-wife duo. They had maybe one reporter. I think they had a staff of 3. And a lot of times they would talk to like the English teachers in the high school. And is there a kid who wants to write a column or, go to the Big Timber sporting events and just do a little write-up for the weekly paper about that. And so that was kind of interesting. So I actually wrote, for the basketball games, boys and girls basketball, I do the weekly recaps and print in the paper. So I got into it a little bit that way. It's like, oh, this reporting is kind of fun. Yeah. Maybe be into it. Both my parents being teachers, like, I'm never going to be a teacher. I've seen what they do. I've seen the conversations, like it's great. But when they're dealing with parents, like, I don't want to be a teacher. Sure.
Did you have a slant towards sports journalism?
Yeah.
Is that kind of what you want to do?
That was kind of what I came into.
Was the dream ESPN being on TV, or did you want to do more?
I think at the time there was a show. There used to be a show called E60.
Yeah.
It was like an ESPN. It was a sports, but it was the longer form kind of documentary style sports reporting, the deeper stories. That's what I was kind of into. I wasn't going to be a play-by-play person or anything like that, but I wanted to be around sports. So I kind of went into it like, it'd be cool to make sports documentaries, this longer format stuff. I'd like that. I'd worked in the newspaper world. I was like, I don't really like newspaper. I want the media side of it. So got a great J school here, great professors, a lot of people, alumni. You look back, have gone in to be anchors all over the place. Some of the kids just in my class are big time news anchors around the country and things like that. So I was like, it's a great school. I want to go to Montana. My grandfather graduated from there. It's far enough away from home, but not too far. I like the state. So I was like, I'm going to go see what happens there.
So you're volunteering for Griz football, going to journalism school, graduate, you go to Vegas to work in the weight room.
Yeah.
Have you ever used your journalism degree?
I have briefly.
What'd you do? How'd you use it?
So as part of the program, there's a few things. When you get to your senior year, they do a senior documentary. So I was in the documentary class. So the seniors in the J school pick it, shoot a documentary, airs on PBS. You have a big premiere. So I did that. But part of it, you have to do some internships to graduate. They want you getting some work experience. So the internship I was at KPAX. And so I was working in the control room, helping on the morning newscast. So start at 4 a.m., get ready for the morning newscast, get done at 10 a.m. And so it's just supposed to be an internship. Well, they had some people that they lost in the control room doing, master control and audio and running cameras and stuff like that. So at the time, Bob Hermes was running the station and like, we actually need someone in here. You've done a good job. Our director says you're doing a good job. We're just going to hire you. We're going to make this a paid internship. So for my senior year, I was actually an employee of KPAX. It was counting as my internship, but I was the technical director on the morning news show.
That's awesome.
At KPAX for a year. So
was that a lot of stress?
It was at first. Yeah. I had to always tell myself, no one's awake at this time. They're not watching. So if I mess this up, there's not that many people watching this. It's not the 5:30 news. We go on air at 6, but it took a while. And we ran, usually there's 6 people in the control room. You have graphics, you have audio, you have your director, you have your technical director who's running the control board and putting what's on. You have a camera person. When we did it, there was 3 of us. So I would run the audio board with one hand. I'd run the switcher with the other hand. Commercial breaks. My director, Rich, would be like, hey, we got to go move the cameras. We're going to weather next. Run out in the studio, get the camera set. So you're kind of thrown into the fire, but it made it fun because I learned all those skills. And I was like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. This is kind of fun. I don't know if it's local news forever, but I like being on the production side of it. This is what I liked. And so that was my job to pay when I was working football. So I'd work that my senior year, 4 to 10. go to classes, go to football practice. And then on the weekends, I was a basketball ref. So I had a few extra jobs to try to make it because I was volunteering with the football team. I was like, I still got to pay rent and do some of this stuff. So
I want to ask a little bit more about all the work that you did with the football team. But before I do, both parents being coaches, I understand that coaches have a lot of one-liners or things that they say over and over and over. What were some of those lessons or things that your parents tried to instill into you that they were probably teaching to their players?
I think the number one thing, and I'd never played for my parents. My sister had it harder. They both coached girls' sports. So my dad was her basketball coach. My mom was her volleyball coach. So they never directly coached me. They did in baseball and some AAU stuff like that. But being around my dad, his thing was he would always tell me it all pays the same. I worked with him on a ranch together. And so basketball, he's like, it doesn't matter. You don't want to do that. You got to go pull those weeds. It pays you the same. And he kind of was like that with sports. It all pays the same. You put the work in, and he would just, and to now where it's a joke, well, where if he's complaining about something, hey, pays the same, and he'll kind of look at me like, oh, no, you can't bring that back on me now. But my sister would probably have more because she directly played for them, and I was a little more isolated from it, but
sure.
He was the athletic director, so I had crossover with it for sure.
All right. So take me, now we're into our college days again, back to your undergrad. What kept you motivated to go and set up cones and cut film and do all the work that for free that nobody else wanted to do? Like, why did you keep coming back every day or every year?
Part of it, a lot of it's how I'm raised. Big Timber's a pretty blue collar place. It's farmers, it's ranchers, it's stuff like that. So a lot of it growing it up is work ethics built into us, and having parents for teachers and principal and stuff. The standard's a little higher. I can't be the kid getting in trouble in town or not being known for working hard or whatever. So it's like, if I'm getting that opportunity from Coach Hauk, he's giving me that opportunity because he knows my parents and grew up around him. I can't let him down. Like, I got to do this. And then as I got into it, you start to feel like you're part of the team.
Yeah.
And you get into it. And early on, some of those guys back in those days, they probably don't remember me as much, but I'll run into guys when I was just the student manager. I run into them now, and they'll come up and talk, and they remember it. And so it kind of comes full circle. But you know how it is in Missoula when the Griz are rolling, and in those days we were really good. People really excited. So just to be part of it was one of those things. Like, and Coach Hauk is big on, he preaches all the time with our guys. Everyone has a role on the team. We have 105 guys on our roster. He's like, I don't care if you're the starting quarterback, if you're the long snapper, if you're, the left tackle on field goal, and that's all you play. We all have a job. And if we don't do our job, we're not going to win. And he's kind of preached that with our scout team players when they're redshirting. Football's tough. It's kind of like they practice every day. They lift every day. They get none of the glory. No one knows their names. They're not on the field playing. He's like, but if we don't have you guys to practice against, we will not be successful. So I think after being there a little bit and being into it, I worked with a great coaching staff who took care of me. They were like uncles to me. They're guys I still talk to this day. And then you start to realize, like, oh, they do value what I'm doing here, and it's making some kind of difference. The general public might not know, but I'm helping them, and we're winning, and kind of getting your foot in the door, and just kind of rolled with it. And each year as I did, I got a little bit more responsibility. They gave me a little bit more to do, a little bit more coaching, and it just kind of growing. And every time they're kind of dangling that carrot out there, like, let's take this, or like, oh, this is fun, I can do that. And then you show them that, and you build a little bit more. And so I think it just kind of snowballed, and just worked with great people is the biggest thing. Yeah.
Rapid fire questions. You ready, Brando?
Let's do it. Let's go.
Okay. What is your first initial memory of Missoula, Montana?
Becoming to Griz football games, for sure.
Tell us about that first Griz game.
I just remember for whatever reason, obviously Coach Hauk had been coaching, came back in 2003, right before that, we were still coming to games. I remember growing up watching, but we'd come over to 1 or 2 games a year. Maybe parents would drive over, kind of Griz fans all the time. And I remember,
was it like a day trip?
Yeah.
Get up early, drive over.
Standard Montana day trip. Yeah. Leave 5 a.m. For whatever reason, we'd always stop in Rocker. There's that. There's that little truck stop.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'd stop at the truck stop. That's where we'd eat breakfast.
Always.
Then we'd get over to Griz, be at the Hauk family tailgate, saying hi to everyone. Go to the game. Game gets over. Back on the road. 4 hours back to Big Timber, and we're on it. So I just remember going in there and walking in there for the first time. And small town, they have some bleachers. You don't have any stadium. You walk in there for the first time and hear the roar, and you're like, whoa, this is special. And as a little kid, you're like, that's pretty cool. There's no pro teams. Like this is what I want to do. That's awesome. And so my parents taking me over there and doing that, and that was probably the first memory, coming through the canyon, seeing the stadium for the first time, walking around in the tailgates, being like, oh, this is big time football now.
Dan, what's your favorite coffee shop in Missoula?
That's tough. My work hours don't really allow me to enjoy coffee shops. Nothing's open when I go to work. I would say probably the top two are probably Black Coffee and Drum, but more times than not, it's the espresso machine in my house and the Keurig in my office, and that's what we go with.
What's your favorite restaurant?
I'd have to say the Depot.
Oh.
Big fan of the Black and Prime rib there. When we get to recruiting season, when guys are coming in, we're trying to recruit them. We get to take them out to nice restaurants, and Depot's one of the staples. Lolo's Steakhouse, take them to some of those places, and I usually try to find a way to tag along and get a meal with them. Like, yeah, I got to talk to them, meet the parents, go get a steak too. So, yeah.
What to you is the weirdest part of Missoula?
Oh, I think it's just the people in the city. It's for being a college town that's diehard football. Everyone kind of revolves around the Griz and all that. There's so much other stuff going on that there's people in this town that have no idea who the Griz are. They don't know there's a game. And it blows me away because I work in it. But going into a game and stop at a coffee shop or something like that. What are you going? I'm going to work. And like, oh, yeah, what do you do? It's like, oh, I coach for the Grizzlies. Oh, who are they playing today? And they have they're just in their own world. So I think just the interest of people and all the grouping here, you have the people who die hard. We see them at practice every day into that. Then I'm a big fly fisherman. You got the fly fishing community, and they're in their own thing. I see the people out in the oval slack lining and doing riding the unicycles around the oval, whatever stuff they're doing. I think it's just the mix of people being in the college town is probably the strangest and maybe one of the best parts about it too.
Well, next question. What do you love the most about Missoula?
Number one's the outdoors.
Yeah.
I'm a big outdoors person, grew up in the outdoors, hunting, fishing. So to be in a large enough population area where I can keep my wife happy. We have a Target, we have a Costco, things like that. There's some shopping, stuff for my kids to do. We've lived in some spots where we didn't have that. Pocatello, Idaho was not the most thriving city in the world. So to have that and then also have, great fishing, great hunting, hiking, all that outdoor activity right outside the back door is awesome. Especially with my schedule. Sometimes it's work all day. If I can just get down the river and fish for 2 hours at the end of the day after, I have that opportunity, which is awesome. So I think it's the proximity to the outdoors and the lifestyle stuff I enjoy.
Do you have a book that's made a significant impact on your life more than any other?
That's a tough one. I read a lot. There's a few of them. The first one that comes to mind from the coaching side is a book called Legacy. It's written about the New Zealand All Black rugby team. And a guy kind of followed him around, and it's basically 15 leadership lessons from the All Blacks and what they do to be so successful. They've been a powerhouse in rugby for years and years and years. And like, how do they continue to do this? And it's some of the standards they set for their team and how they do it. So like the one that sticks with me is they call it sweeping the sheds. So everyone goes out and practices and stuff like that. They get done. They put all their equipment back in the shed, but it's the captain's job and the players on the team to sweep the shed, clean the shed out, make sure everything's ready for the next time. They don't have someone doing that. And I work in a world where we do everything for our athletes. Our athletes show up and work. We set up the field. We try to make it pretty easy for them. But I think just that idea of like, it's everyone's responsibility to move this team forward. There's not a job that's too small or below any of us. Mm-hmm. We're all capable. So that's one that sticks to me, but there's 15 it's a pretty easy read and 15 things that they think that's what sets the All Blacks apart from everyone. And I think that's one of them. There's another one, which I don't think anyone will say. It's a kid's book. Now that I have kids, that side of my life is kind of taken over. It came out a few years ago. It's an animated kids book. It's called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. And it's kind of a life parable, really. It's just a story about a boy trying to find his way home, and along the way he finds this mole, and they become friends, and they find a fox and a horse, and there's just little lessons in it. And so when you're reading with your kids, it's like it's just a story about a boy who's a friend with a mole, and they're trying to find some stuff. But as they go through it, there's things in it about even the mole. You're small, but you're still important in this world. And the boy's trying to find home, and he is like, I don't know if home's a place. I think home's a feeling. And it kind of some deeper life lessons about that, which I thought was pretty cool to, read with my kids and kind of instill on. At this point, I don't know that they fully understand it, but eventually down the road, I think they'll kind of dial in and get in. There's some pretty deep life lessons and a pretty simple kid story, which I think is pretty cool.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
You mentioned there family, wife, kids.
Yeah.
Where along your journey did you meet your wife? Where's she from?
My wife is originally from Boise, Idaho. She was a college soccer player. She played at Western Washington University. And I met her when I was living in Vegas. Just freak deal. Every time people ask us, my college roommate was dating one of her high school AAU college teammates. And they just came down to Vegas on a girls' trip. And her friend called me up. Hey, our plane lands at 11. We don't want to buy a hotel for an hour. Can we just stay at your house till we can check in the hotel the next day? Sure. She's like, got 3 friends. Like, that's fine. I'm working. You can stay at my house. And my wife was one of the friends on the trip. So met her, kind of connected. And we actually, she was living in Oregon at the time. We were long distance all the way up until we were engaged. We never lived in the same state until then. So not sure how that really happens. So when people ask me for relationship advice, I'm like, I'm not the person to ask. I don't know. It wasn't planned. There was none of that. It just happened that way. And so, yeah.
Hop back into your story. So you're down in Vegas. How long were you there? Did you just
I was in Vegas.
What?
So he got hired in January of 2010, I believe. I went down there in June, finished my school and went down there. And I was with him for 5 years down there. So initially hired as a graduate assistant strength coach. So I did 2 years, got my master's degree. When I graduated with my master's, he ended up just hiring me as a full-time assistant strength coach at that point. And so I was basically doing the same job, just making a little bit more money and had benefits. So moved up into that. We were there for 3 years, and then the way the college football world works, you don't win enough games, you're out the door. So I think I was 25 years old and had lost my job for the first time and trying to figure out, what do I do now? Like, I thought we were coaching, we were going to be in there. So, and he went to coach at San Diego State. He didn't have a head coaching job. So our entire staff just kind of dispersed. Some people got out of coaching, some went to high school, some went to other schools. So there's a period of time after that where it was about 2 years where I was kind of in limbo. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be in college strength coaching anymore. Had interviewed a bunch of places. It's hard to get your foot in. There's a lot of people always trying to get the jobs, and a lot of it's who you know, and you get your connection that way. So we're down in Vegas. I was in Vegas for a job. I didn't love Las Vegas. It was fun when I lived there at the point in my life, but it wasn't the forever place. So my wife had moved down there, didn't have anything going. I said, all right, I don't have a job. Why don't you find your job? We'll move to where you need to be, and I'll figure something out from there. I don't have a college job lined up. So then we ended up in Boise for 2 years. She's a graphic designer, got hired at a firm there and was doing that. And I worked in the private sector, trained high school athletes, general population people, and just working as a personal trainer. And then along the way is Rob Fennessy, who's one of our coaches now. He was the offensive coordinator for Coach Houck the first time here. And while we were at UNLV, he got hired as the head coach at Idaho State. And I was like, oh, good. That's exciting for you. Great. He's like, I'm going to be in Boise recruiting. Can I stop by and see you? Like, yeah, stop by. Let's catch up. I haven't seen you in a couple of years. Let's catch up. I didn't know that stop was he was recruiting me. He's like, I want a strength coach, or strength coach leaving. Do you want to get back into this? It's like, I don't know. I just gotten to the point where I might try to open my own facility. I'm comfortable. I've moved on from college world. He comes and I look at him. I was like, should we do this? We had just bought a house. I'm like, I don't know if we should do this. So he talked to me for a while, and ultimately I ended up doing it. I said, okay, I'll do it a year. Told my wife. She stayed in Boise. I moved to Pocatello by myself. Lived like a Spartan, no internet, no TV. I just went there and worked. It's like, I'm going to give it a year. Let's see if I still love this, if it's still what I want to do. If we get to the end of the year and it's what we want to do, then we figure out, how we're going to move you out here. And turns out I stayed in it, loved it. And she moved out there and spent 4 years at Idaho State working for him. And I did every sport there. I wasn't just football. I was a one-man show. So I was the only strength coach for every athlete. So
how hypocritical did you feel wearing that black and orange?
It took a while.
Was that weird?
It was.
I
the
can't
weirdest
imagine.
feeling walking in. We played the Griz one time, and walking into Griz through the visitors tunnel felt like the most sacrilegious thing I could have ever done.
Did you
I was
secretly want the Griz to win that game? Deep down inside,
I
were
knew
you
it
a
was
Griz
going to
fan?
happen. And the game, Coach Houck gives us such a hard time about it because there's a few of us who had been Griz people who were on the Idaho State staff. There's 3 or 4 of us, and we got up early in the game. I think this was 2018 or 2019 maybe. And we had a really good first quarter, had a really good second quarter. We were up, I don't know, we might have been up 17-0 or something at one point. And I look at my sideline and my guys are celebrating. And our crowd, the Griz crowds, they're doing their thing. They're right there. They're talking. They're having fun with it. And I'm looking at my guys and they're giving it right back. They're feeling themselves like, guys, no, don't do this. You're celebrating too early. I've been in the stadium too many times.
Yep.
I was here when South Dakota State
was
41-14 and they thought that was over. I was on the other sideline. I know how this happens. It's like, this game is far from over. And then the Griz started rolling. Samori Torre started going off and I think he had like 3 touchdowns and 200 yards or something. Like he got loose. And then it spiraled. And so we played one really good quarter and then it went down. I was like, I tried to tell you guys this. It's a 4-quarter game up here. They will come back.
What is the biggest difference between working at one of the rivals, or not even a rival, but one of the other schools, and the University of Montana?
It's just the support. It's the expectation. It's the pressure. It's a double-edged sword. It's why I love doing what I do. We have high expectations. We have great fan support. We have a packed stadium. People care about what we do. The other side of that is if you don't do a good job, people are going to let you know that too. Mm-hmm. Everyone has an opinion. They have an answer. So with the good comes the bad, but that's what you want. Idaho State, we didn't have the fan support. We'd have a few thousand fans. We'd have some diehards who were with us no matter what. We had some fair weather that if we were winning, they would show up, but it just wasn't the same. You didn't have that community support where everyone is all in and locked in on it. And that's tough to watch your athletes go through it. Because in my world, I see all the stuff no one else sees. I see how hard they work year round. The 6 a.m. workouts when they're running, they're lifting, whatever. They're doing that year round. The general public sees 10, 12 Saturdays a year. That's all they get. So they don't realize these kids are going to class. They have study hall. They have social lives. A bunch of my guys are working jobs right now. They don't see that side. So to be at Idaho State and watch these kids work so hard and not get any of the glory, the feedback, and the support for what they're doing, that's tough to watch. Yeah. Where here you get to see that, and it makes it pretty rewarding. So that's probably the biggest difference, is just the support of everyone around it. And like I said, you can lose a game at Idaho State, and you're not going to have a bunch of messages on your phone and texts and hearing people lose it here. I'll make sure if we're going out to the grocery store, I'm not wearing my Griz stuff. You can't see me. Like I don't want anyone to know, because I know someone's going to come up and ask me like, what happened? Why did we call that on? I was like, I'm the strength coach. Yep. I don't make I teach them how to pick up heavy things and put them back down. That's it.
Yeah.
But it's the fun part about it too, because people care. It's important here.
Yeah. So is it correct to assume that when Bobby came back here, you got a phone call?
Not right away.
Okay.
So he came back in 2018, and he actually retained the strength coach from Bob Stitt's staff and kept him on in 2018. And then December 2020 is when I got a call from him. I remember when he first came back. I remember my players at Idaho State coming in like, Coach Houck just went back to Montana. You're leaving, aren't you? Like, no, I'm here. Like, no, you're leaving. You just want to tell us. Like, I haven't even talked to him. We haven't had a conversation. Obviously, I called him and said, congrats on the job, stuff like that, but we didn't talk about the job, and that was about a year and a half. And then at the end of 2020, he actually called Coach Fennessy first, because they've been good friends. They were GAs, so they've known each other forever, worked together forever. And he called him first, and Fennessy will tell the story. He's like, called him up and was like, hey, I need to talk to you. He's like, I just want to let you know I'm going to give Dan a call. In fact, no, don't do this to me, because I know if you offer it, he's going to take it. That's probably the one job he's going to leave for. He's like, no, he's like, I get it, but don't do it to me. And then he actually called me second. So the head coach I was working for at the time actually knew it before I did. And once he made the call, it's like, hey, it's no hard feelings, but this is home. This is a place I got to go back to. That's where I want to be. So.
Was your wife pumped to come to Missoula?
I think she was, yeah.
Yeah.
She'd been up here. One of her family friends was Caleb McSurdy. I don't know if you remember that name from like 07, 08, 09, some of those championship years, a linebacker. He lived just down the street from her in Boise. So she had actually been to a game before with family, going to visit and watch him play. Had no idea I was even there and working on, I'm standing down there. I've known Caleb the whole time. So she had been up to Missoula and been to a game and thought it was pretty cool. And then, just knowing how much I love Montana. Yeah. She gives me a hard time. She's like, no one loves anything more than Montanans love Montana.
Yep.
So like everyone I talk to, that's all they talk about. And that's how I am. I'm 100% guilty.
What is your
of that.
official title?
That's a good question. Most people just the football strength coach. I think officially it's the director of athletic performance for football.
Okay.
But everyone's like, what's that mean? Like,
So-
I'm the football strength and conditioning
So
coach.
what's it like living life, having a career where you have no control of job security,
Yeah.
of what's executed on the field, wins, losses? Like, you play your part, you're a part
Yeah.
of the team, but
It's crazy. It's
how
sometimes
do you
when
live life that way?
Yeah, I talk to, we have guys who they get done playing and they want to go into coaching and stuff like that. And like, how do you do that? One of the craziest things you'll ever think about is that us as a coaching staff, our livelihood, our checks are determined on the performance of 18 to 24-year-old college age males.
And the bar's high in Montana.
Yeah.
At Montana,
I was like, that's a pretty scary thought. Like, I think back to when I was 18. Who knows? Every day is a new day. You don't know what. There's no consistency. You're not waiting. So you just kind of embrace it and realize that the kids, you recruit the right kids here. Montana's important to the kids here. It's part of it, and you just can't dwell on it. We have graduate assistants who work for me in the weight room. And it's one of the things, they'll ask me, like, how do you feel? You have no job security. You sign a 1-year contract or whatever, if you don't win, you're going to lose it. Like, if I spend all my time worrying about that, I'm not going to do my job at a high enough level to help these kids be successful.
Sure.
So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to do my job. I kind of approach it. I'm going to do everything in my power to make the guys on my team successful. And then if they're successful, I'll have success. But it's not about me being successful or keeping my job or anything like that. It's how can I help them perform at a high level and win games and do that and just take it that way. So
What's your role on game day?
head cheerleader?
Do you travel?
I do. All jokes aside, we're there for warm-ups. So home games.
Do you have a whistle?
I do. Yeah, got to wear
That's
the
like
whistle.
arriving.
It's like the rule.
That's awesome.
But warm-ups pregame, which isn't anything drastic. Most of our warm-ups are done with our position coach. We do a brief 10-minute thing with me, and then they're doing their position drills and stuff like that, getting them moving. Home games, I'm a little bit more involved. We have the Champion Center, so guys will come in and do a pregame lift and do some different stuff in the weight room, mobility, things like that to get them prepped. Once the game starts, it's sideline control, making sure guys are staying back, making sure they're locked in, paying attention that when the defense is on the field, we got the defensive guys up. So if a coach turns around and they need a guy to sub in, we have the guy there. It's helping any guys get banged up, a hamstring tightens up, quad, whatever. Can I do something on the sideline to help them get back on the field? My family likes to joke that I'm Coach Houck's babysitter. Strength coaches are the get back coach.
Is that you pulling him back off the side?
Yeah. So when he's out yelling at the ref, I'm the guy with my hand around his waist, pulling him back to the sideline. So that's my job too.
You're busy.
Will you let him go a little bit further this season?
Yeah.
It's really fun to watch.
Yeah. We
give-
planned it out.
Give him some
sometimes.
slack.
There's certain times he tells me, do not let me step out there. He'll tell me before the game, I don't care what you say. I might fire you during the game. I'm going to tell you you're fired. Get away from me. Don't stop. Get me back there. And then there's other games where there's been a couple times like, he's kind of calm. I'll go over like, Coach, you haven't said anything. You got to get going a little bit. Like, go.
Yep.
Get something. He's like, you think so? I was like, yeah, we need a little juice. Go yell at someone. Let's
That's
go.
awesome. It's so great.
And it's funny because everyone always asks that, people who know me after a while, they're like, oh, how do you do that? You're holding on to his belt loop and pulling him back. It's like, a lot of times I'm standing there just so the refs see that we're trying, but I'm not really trying that hard to get him back. There's been a few times where it's like, hey, Coach, we got to get back. You're going to get a penalty. He turns around. I know. I was like, we're going to get a penalty. I know. I'm getting this penalty. We need this one right now.
It's interesting to me, like baseball coaches get ejected.
Yeah, they get ejected
But
on
in football,
purpose
it's
to
just
do
15
it.
yards.
Yeah.
So
there's times he's like, yeah, I'm going to go yell at him. I'm going to take my penalty. And
it's,
he actually has not had many penalties. Some of these refs will be like, you've had a bunch. He has not had many in his career.
Does he have a longer leash than other coaches in the league?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think when we get into conference play, we get the same refs. They ref the Big Sky Conference, so we see them every year. So there's certain crews we have a really good relationship with. So certain crews, I would say he has a really good relationship with the white hat, the head official, and they've known each other for a long time, and so probably get a little bit more of that.
Sure.
Playoffs is always a little questionable because they never let you have your own conference ref your playoff game, and usually we get a small conference that is reffing games in front of no fans.
We've been at those games.
Small atmosphere, and they come in there and they walk into Griz, and I go down there pregame, and this is when I know it's going to be bad. If I'm out there pregame and I see the refs out there with their phones and they're taking pictures and taking selfies and video in the stadium, I'm like, uh-oh.
They're not
These
ready.
guys are just they are not ready for what's about to
They've
happen.
not been here before.
This moment is going to be too big for them, and this is going to get out of control.
Yeah.
We'll look like, Coach, we're in for it today. The refs are down there taking photos. Like, all right, it's going to be that kind of game.
Dan, are you still a fan of the game, or is it purely business? Can you enjoy the game during the game?
Yeah, I do. I think one of the best parts about my job is I know a lot of coaches who love the weight room. That's their favorite part. Game day is just something they do. I love game day, and it has nothing to do with me. It's like I get to see all the work that these guys have put in finally put on display. So I'm a fan of our guys. I enjoy it. Obviously, we want to win. When the Griz are playing it, we got to win. That's what it is. It's much more enjoyable when you're winning, but I'll still watch college football. I'll still watch other teams and, keep an eye on what's going on in the conference. I still enjoy the game. There's obviously more pressure. I think the games that I probably get the most nervous about are the ones that all our fans are like, oh, we're going to kill them this week.
Yeah.
D2 school, we're going to smoke these guys. Those are the ones I get really worried about. Is like, no, this team,
who was it just in the last year or 2 years it came here? And
Team from Michigan.
Yep. Ferris State.
Ferris State. Scary.
Ferris State. And when we got them on our schedule, I remember Coach Houck saying, what are we doing? Like, I'm okay scheduling the D2 team, not the two-time defending national champions. Like, this is going to be a hard game. This might be one of the best teams we play all year.
Yeah.
I remember fans like, oh, it's a D2 team. We're going to smoke. And I was like, no, we're not. I've watched these guys on film. These guys are good.
Yeah.
So I remember being really nervous for that game. Like, oh, man. Because the expectation is you win by 30. And if you don't, everyone's mad at you. And it's like, hey, we'll take a win.
So, Dan, tell me a little bit about how your philosophy in the weight room has changed over your career. And then second question on that, who's like one or two players that made the biggest transition from freshman year to, I guess now it's 7 years in college.
Yeah.
But
I think a lot of who shaped me as a strength coach is Mike Gerber. He was the coach. He was the strength coach here with Coach Houck during those glory years, the 06, the most national championship runs and stuff like that. And he's the one who taught me. I never taken an exercise science class. I was self-taught, and he took me under his wing and taught me. So I like all my coaching knowledge. I owe to that guy. He's the smartest dude I know. Still lives in Kalispell. I don't talk to him as much as I'd like to, but that's the only reason I could be a coach. But in the weight room, it's early on. It was a lot about how are we doing the right sets and reps? Are we choosing the right exercises? Are we getting strong enough? And then as I've gotten older, I've learned that a big portion of what I do is building the culture of the team. The weight room isn't just about getting them strong and fast. That's huge for us, right? We got to get strong and fast, but I got to bring guys together. We got to create some chemistry. We got to learn toughness. We got to learn discipline. We got to learn work ethic. We want to build, young men with high character. So I think I've tried to instill that stuff in there a little bit more too, along with the sets and reps and stuff like that. But a lot of my conversations with the guys, I'm not talking about, how much weight did we do last week and move it up this week? How can we create confidence? And so when you talk about transitions and, transformations with guys, sometimes it's the guys who come in, the weight room's a scary place. They're not strong. They haven't been great about it, but you watch them as they start to get a little more strength, a little bit more muscle. All of a sudden they start playing more confidently on the field. They carry themselves more confidently. They start believing in themselves a little bit more. So I tell them the weight room's a place to have failure. You're going to fail in the weight room. If we're getting every rep every time and you're doing it easy, I'm probably not pushing you as hard as I can. So it's a safe place to fail. Let's learn how to fail here so that we can rebound and we know how to bounce back from it. So when it happens on the field, it's not brand new. It's not the first time you've ever failed. You can rebound from it. You don't go into a mental spiral and then the rest of the game is shot. You can flush it and move on to the next one. So I think that's a big portion of it. As far as like transformations, there's so many guys that come in, we laugh, and some of them are big name players. Some of them are guys that are role players. Some of the guys never saw the field. But I was talking with a kid the other day. We have a kid on our team right now, came in last year as a freshman weighing 190 pounds, currently weighs 225 pounds in a year. You can ask, Levi, Janicaro. He probably wasn't the biggest, strongest. He's always been a big dude. But by the time he was done, he looked like a completely different guy.
Could you take Levi right now?
Oh, no way. You seen the forearms on that guy?
Massive.
Tell me he looks like Popeye. He's got the biggest
Massive.
forearms I've ever seen in 17 years of coaching. I've never seen forearms like that. And he's such a nice guy, too. just looks the part. But there's a couple of them. We had a kid at UNLV who was a Canadian kid, came in. He was a high school quarterback in Canada. We recruited him down to UNLV and turned him into an O-lineman. So he came in as like a, I don't know, 240, 250-pound quarterback, made him an O-lineman. He's still playing in the CFL to this day.
Wow.
He's like a 13-year pro at this point. So something like that. Had never played a single snap of O-line until he got down in Coach Houck's program at UNLV, and we're like, we think you're an O-lineman. And so to watch him transform and do that. Dylan Cook's another example. He's playing with the Steelers. He was a quarterback at Montana State Northern, an NAIA quarterback. We recruited him here, played him O-line. He's now in his 4th year in the league.
It's crazy.
So some of those transitions where you're like, no way did this high school quarterback all of a sudden become an NFL O-lineman. Those are some of the ones where people don't believe me. And I've had it happen twice where we've taken high school quarterbacks and made them NFL O-linemen.
We could talk football. We could talk Griz all day. Trending toward wrapping this up. Question for you. What piece of advice, looking back at your career, would you give to that high school kid who's playing football right now, has dreams, aspirations to play at the next level or D1? Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to him today?
I think the way things have changed, it used to be kids would play multiple sports. They'd play everything. They weren't specialists. It wasn't year-round sports. They had summers, things like that. So when I talk to high school kids and they come in now, my biggest thing is play every sport you can. Do as much as you can. We get so many kids who want to lock in on football, and that's all they do. And then they do the 7-on-7 leagues and go out around all these camps. But they're missing out on so much athletic development that you learn in other skills. One of my best receivers I ever coached had a gymnastics background. Grew up doing gymnastics when he was young. So his body control was unbelievable. He could get in and out of breaks because he just had that foundation. Yeah. Some of our best football players are track stars. We want guys who run track because now you know how to sprint. Our O-line, D-line in the trenches, we got wrestlers, So I tell these guys, don't specialize, don't make it everything. Train yourself hard, go hard, play for your team, but play multiple sports and be involved in a lot of it. And I think a lot of them the other thing is I worry about them with the star systems and the rating systems. Stop chasing ratings, stop chasing stars. Let your film do the talking.
Yeah.
Put good film out, play hard, make plays. Do that instead of trying to chase down this rating service and this and that. And the social media world it's tough for me now, watching how it's kind of transitioned with our guys. It becomes a lot of I, me stuff.
Yeah.
And I try to tell guys, we recruit guys who are good players on the best teams. So don't be the best player on a bad team. Like, make your team better, and you're going to stand out. We're going to find you. We're going to see it. And character is a big portion of it. At least for us, for Coach Houck, it's one, he has a few things we talk about all the time, and one of them is being character-driven men. Like, he's not going to bring people into our team that don't fit the character that he thinks. You can be the best athlete ever, but if you're going to come in and mess up the chemistry of our locker room and not buy into the Montana way, we're not going to bring you in. We want good kids. And, the last few years, you look at like our GPA, our team GPA, it's like a 3.4, 3.6 or something like that. And you're like, for a football team, it's unbelievable. Like, how are you guys good at football and you're still so good at school? Usually, like, I'd want it a little lower. You don't focus too much on your school. You got to play football too. But like, he's kind of created that culture here, and that's what it is. And so for kids, that want to come play for the Griz, tell them you got to be tough. You got to work hard. You got to be a good person. Yeah. Focus on those things, and the rest of it will come.
Last question for me, Dan. How are we going to be this year? How's the summer workouts been? Are you optimistic?
I'm always optimistic. I have to be. I kind of view myself, I'm the light. We lose a game, I got to be the guy who comes in on Monday. All right, boys, we got to get back to work. We can't dwell on this. Let's get going. So I'm always optimistic, cautiously optimistic, though. I'm not one who's going to make predictions. We got a lot of new guys on the team. There's going to be a lot of new faces that you guys haven't seen. The transfer portal has changed things. Got a lot of very talented kids who've come in, but they haven't played here. I like our group of kids. They work hard. It's our standard Montana way. We have 8 home games, which is, as we know, is a huge benefit to us. It's hard to win in that stadium. It's like 87% winning percentage in Griz or something like that all time. So knowing people got to come play us is good. The biggest thing for me is always keeping our team healthy.
Yeah.
If we can, our biggest challenge this year is we have a week 1 bye, and then we play 12 straight games.
Any specific games on the schedule you've got circled? You're looking forward to,
There's
excited for?
always one. There's always one.
That
The
last
last one.
That last one.
Most important one, always.
Yeah.
And growing up, and I don't think we have people come into our staff and work in the strength staff, and I'm the only one on our strength staff. We have 8 coaches for all our sports, strength coaches at UM. I'm the only one who's from Montana. And so they come in and they're like, oh, we've heard about the rivalry. We kind of get it. And then they hear me talk about it and they're like, oh, this is different. Like I think they think it's a show at first. I think they think it's, I'm putting on an act for them to try to tell them it's how important. They're like, no, that's actually how you are all the time. It's like, yeah, this is a big game. So it's like, we can lose every game of the season. We win that game, I'll feel pretty good.
Amen.
That's awesome.
That's for sure the important one.
Dude, thanks so much for being here.
I appreciate it,
you.
guys.
Thanks for sharing your
having
story.
me.
Let's go win a Big Sky championship.
Absolutely. Go Griz.
Awesome.
Go Griz.